Thank you, Max. Guys, my first guest tonight, as I said, is a CBS News correspondent. He's also a co-editor of 60 Minutes and the only correspondent on 60 Minutes with his original hips. Please welcome Steve Kroft. Let's get him out here. First of all, thank you very much for being here at a time very difficult. No one wants to come near these shows for obvious reasons, and everyone realizes this is a very hard thing to do, but thanks for being here.
It's my pleasure. I mean, I think that I know your audience, and I think it's, you know, I consider it an opportunity to talk to young people, college kids, young adults,
right,
and to try and reassure them a little bit.
Well, before we do that, you, for quite a while, we were neighbors. We lived in the same building.
That's right.
On the Upper West Side. I don't live there anymore, so I can give the exact address. But
you couldn't pay your rent.
No, I was asked to leave.
Everybody wants to know why you're not there.
There's a no Irish policy. And anyway, I no longer live there, but I think of you still as a neighbor of mine. We would walk our dogs at the same time.
Right.
How were you affected by all this? Were you in New York City?
I was in New Orleans.
Oh, you were in New Orleans.
I was in New Orleans. I'd just gotten down there. I'd done an interview on a story and had gone down to Bourbon Street and had a few drinks the night before and a good meal and came back.
Your
and
life's
woke
a mess,
up,
isn't it?
And I woke up the next morning to find out, you know, this horrible thing had happened and watch it unfold like many of the people in the audience.
Now, there has been a lot of speculation right now about what's going to happen next. I mean, there's so many things to talk about, so many things to process. A lot of people are concerned that the Taliban is threatening, today anyway, the latest news is they're still threatening a holy war. What does something like that mean to this country?
You know, my reaction to that is that it's rhetoric. They've been saying and waging a holy war for a long time. Not just the Taliban, but, you know, I think that it went back, you actually go back to 1985, and I was in Libya when we decided that after a disco in Berlin had been blown up and some American servicemen had been killed, that we were going to go after Gaddafi. And because we believed at the time that he was after it. And this is not long. This is when Abu Nidal and various terrorist groups in Europe were killing people at the airports in Rome and Vienna and blowing up airliners. And Gaddafi vowed that he was going to bring this war of terrorism to the United States. And I think people knew that sooner or later this would happen.
It did feel like, and I know that it certainly felt that way in the news community. But even, you know, an idiot like me had this vague sense that the kettle was boiling. I think a lot of people knew that there is an incredible anger towards the United States and that it was going to manifest itself in some way. And we've actually had guests on the show over the years who are experts on counterterrorism who have said, this is in the offing. This is headed our way.
We knew it intellectually. We knew that the people that were out there to do it, we have known for years that there were people that were willing to give up their own lives to do it, but somehow we couldn't quite grasp the reality and the immediacy of it, and I don't think that it's possible to until it happens. And it is very unfortunate that it had to happen on such a large scale that we lost, you know, perhaps 5,000 people.
Well, the numbers, it doesn't even, there's a shockwave effect that's happening here in the city, which is, it's almost counterintuitive. But what I've noticed is that people here in New York City, the depression is getting deeper, it's growing more. Tuesday, Wednesday, even Thursday, those are high adrenaline days. You know, I got on my bike and tried to give blood a few times. They didn't have my blood type. I got to find my blood type before I can give blood, making calls to find out what it was. There was a sense that I've got to do something, and I'm running around, and I'm going to try and do something. What's now settling in is this feeling that there isn't anything to do. There isn't that much to do right now in the short term. We can do what we can give money, we can give clothes, but there isn't anything that matches our despair that we can do.
And going back to, you asked me about the Taliban and the fact that they say that considering waging a holy war. I think, and this is maybe hard to convey to the American people, that I would like to see us respond to this and have it be successful. I'm much more concerned, and I think it's much healthier from a national point of view, that we take our time, that we get our
facts straight
and our stuff together here, because we have a lot of work to do here.
Well, it's also, it's much, what little I know about this, you know, is that, you know, we once funded or helped back Saddam Hussein, and then that obviously goes south on us. We once funded the Afghan rebels in their fight against the Russians, and now they're our enemies. When we try and
they're the ones actually behind it, I think.
Yeah, and when we have, whenever we try and do anything or be proactive in any way, it ends up coming back to haunt us. So it's a really tricky, intractable problem, is it not?
Very difficult. And there are incredible consequences about, if there was an easy solution to this, we would have done it before.
Right.
If there was an easy way to kill some of these people, take them out, we would have done it. Osama bin Laden, we've been looking for him for years.
Right.
It's not easy.
But let me ask you something. If you kill Osama bin Laden, are we really solving any problem? If these are cells that are operating on their own, and believe me, I think all of us really want a bad guy right now. Mm-hmm. If we, for example, were to be able to blow him up right now, just he's gone, he's just a beard, that's all that's left. What, you know, would we, after that, it's a great image right now for a lot of us, but is that solving a problem, really? Is that doing anything other than murdering him and creating maybe, you know, 5,000 other people that are willing to give their lives to do something horrible to us?
Given the choice of killing him or not killing him, I'd kill him.
Yeah. It's a weird new game show.
Right.
That's what it's become. It's like, you can kill Osama bin Laden or choose what's behind this curtain.
The reason I mentioned Gaddafi is because we tend as a country to go through that. We feel like we need to have a villain. It was Gaddafi. It was a whole succession of people. Saddam. The problem is much more complicated than that. And yes, will 10 Osama bin Ladens rise out of the ashes? Perhaps, maybe. Which is why we need to figure out what the best way to deal with this is. I think obviously there is going to be military action at some point. It needs to be against targets that are going to make a difference. And it needs to succeed, and I think if we do something half-assed. Can I say that?
No, you're fired. Okay. You're on a competing network. I can't touch you.
That it will...
Please fire him.
It will add to everybody's frustration.
Right.
And I think we need to act carefully. I think that one of the things that you brought up, the Taliban, I think that I spent last year, you know, a period of time in Pakistan doing a story on essentially this subject. We think we have problems in this country. Pakistan has so many problems you would not even be able to comprehend it. They've got their elected president of the country is in jail. The country is being run by a general. You have 70 million people that don't even have clean water every day. Mm-hmm. You have 400,000 militant, armed Islamic radicals inside the country that are essentially militias. And you're talking about a country that has nuclear capabilities, that has the bomb. So if we decide that we're going to do something in that part of the world and we're going to utilize Pakistan, we have to carefully weigh all the things that could go wrong by doing that.
We could ostensibly get Pakistan's okay to have troops there, but incite a large part of the country to hate us even more. And
destabilize the government even further, where you could have these 400,000 mujahideen who essentially came there from all over the world because of the jihad in Afghanistan against the Russians. You could have that turned against the government.
Mm-hmm.
You could have General Musharraf's government fall, and you could end up with exactly the people you don't want running that country with access to nuclear weapons. And I think that that is something that's on everybody's mind. So if you're going to do something, you have to think it through and not make things any worse than they are.
The country has to be patient, is what
The
you're
country
saying.
has to be patient. We have to figure out a way to do it. We need to get as many countries behind us as we possibly can. I think the Russians are important.
Mm-hmm.
Because they have borders on, in that part of the world. I think we need to work with the Iranians. We have to try and build a consensus. And
We're in for the long haul. This is going to take a lot of money, a lot of time.
And I think it's a wonderful effort. I mean, I think that if you decide and you are able to get people behind you to wipe this out once and for all, or to cripple it to the point where it becomes not such a serious threat,
right,
that it will be a worthwhile endeavor, and that we ought, you know, it's worth fighting.
It's going to be, I think, this country's primary focus.
Right.
I have to believe after last Tuesday, this is now our, we have our marching orders, I think, if nothing else. Let's take a quick break. We'll have more with Steve Croft when we come back. Stick around.
Ice premium malt beverage. Intelligent nightlife. Be smart. Drink responsibly.
Glade Plug-in's Extra Outlet has the extra outlet built right in. So you can make any room in your home Glade fresh without blocking your outlets. Plug-in's Extra Outlet. Fresh from Glade.
Plug it in, plug it in. Are you open?
Open to the new spirit of hair color? Introducing Open. It's the first soft permanent color gel by L'Oreal with low ammonia and botanical conditioners for vibrantly natural color that's so soft touch. Get Open by L'Oreal Paris.
Must have folded my millionth sweater. I'm starving.
Want some chicken and stars?
Condensed soup? That's for the kiddie section. We're big girls now. There's a better tasting soup. Progresso chicken noodle. Tender pieces of all white meat chicken with bigger slices of vegetables. And just the right seasonings. See the difference?
Well, you're right. Just tastes better.
Now about those Mary Janes.
It's time to go to the better taste, the Progresso.
When you bite into a York peppermint patty, you might get the sensation that you're competing in the two-man bobsled, whizzing down an icy track in the chilling mountain air. York peppermint patty, get the sensation.
The most powerful Duracell Ultra ever. In remote control toys, it's the most powerful alkaline battery in the world.
Hey, what you doing?
Playing solitaire?
I can take a hint. Any chance you get?
I chipped a nail.
Try to hang on. I'll go for help. Any way you can.
Wouldn't you love to go to Europe?
Yep. Get to McDonald's now and try some of the unexpected new tastes on McDonald's new taste menu.
Honey, do we have a...
Trombone? No, I'll go buy one.
Unexpected new tastes at your favorite place, now on McDonald's new taste menu.
You gotta eat. What are you doing? You gotta eat. Say, who do you think you are? You won't get far.
Come on, do the chicken at Rally's. Right now you can get all kinds of great all-white meat chicken at great prices. Rally's Big Chicken or Spicy Chicken Sandwich now just 99 cents. Screamin' Chicken Snack Pack only $1.99. You gotta eat, so do the chicken right now at Rally's.
You gotta eat.